Hey everybody, this is Larry. This is day 11. I should know that is day 11. Because that's just the date of the June Leetcode Daily Challenge. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, join me on Discord. Let me know what you think about today's farm. I don't know why Leetcode is doing a problem, making us do problems from 4 months ago. I have a video on this. I don't know if it's good, and I don't even remember this problem, but it's still like, I don't know. It just feels weird for me to redo a video that, from a few months ago. But anyway, all right, rant aside. Today I kind of caught a rest day. Tomorrow I'm trying to do a sprint. My friend is trying to, me and some people from my run club are doing a beer mile. That means drinking and then sprinting really hard. So that is going to be a mess. But today I'm just resting for that. And also, I just haven't slept well for whatever reason. So we'll see how that goes. I do have a 10K this weekend, but I'm not going to run it hard. It's supposed to be raining and also a mess. Anyway, let's take a look at today's problem. Let me know in the comments how you feel about these hearts. It's bad, and I don't know. There are 3,000 problems. You can choose something that's not in the last year. I don't know. It's a little bit awkward. Anyway, let's take a look. You're given a string S and an integer K. You find the maximum difference between frequency of two characters. Frequency of A minus frequency of B in a substring subs of S such that subs has a size of at least K. Character A has an odd frequency in subs, and character B has an even frequency in sub. Okay. Return the maximum difference. Note that subs can contain more than two distinct characters. Okay. Okay, I think I understand the problem was asking. I mean, I would say honestly I do not remember this problem, which is kind of actually it's kind of bad. I feel like I'm not even pretending or lying or whatever. And I guess last time I did get it wrong a lot, but it's only 4 months ago. I should like. At some point, like maybe, like I do these videos to reveal that, and it's true that I don't remember these problems because I don't know. I don't remember problems. It's been a while, and there are a couple of problems that I do remember because they're memorable for some reason. And this one I do not remember. But at a certain point, it's like, I mean, it's true that I also don't remember what I ate yesterday. What did I eat yesterday? Anyway, we don't have to think about that, But it is a little bit embarrassing, I'm not gonna lie, that this is a problem that I solved 4 months ago and I've forgotten it already. But okay, let's take a look. And my only recollection is from yesterday, in the sense that I think it was even and odd frequency 1 or something, right? So that's the only thing that I remember a little bit. But okay, maximum difference, yeah, sub to at least size K, right? Does it always have to be A minus B? So it always has to be odd and even. Huh. My first instinct is assuming that n is big. Oh. Huh. So there are only digits from 0 to 4, meaning that there are only 5 distinct characters. And that makes it a little bit easier, right? Because 5 choose 2 is what? 5 times 4 over 2 is 10, right? So that's 5 choose 2. That means that, well, okay, maybe it's not 5 over, I mean, 5 choose 2 is 10, but maybe even 5 times 4, because maybe the order that matters. If you choose 5 times 4, that's 20, right? So there's only 20 possibilities. So if you do something like 20 times n, it would be fast enough, in the sense that you're brute forcing all the possibility. And what I mean by that, and at this point, honestly, I do not know. I mean, I think I'm seeing the framework of what I want to do, but I don't know what I want to do yet. And for those of you watching, sometimes I just want to step back a second. Sometimes I get comments about how, hey, your explanation's bad because I don't see what you're doing, or I don't understand, why you're not explaining this. The short answer is that this is not always going to be a pure explanation video. Some of these I'm going to try to solve. And when I solve, I do try to articulate as much as I get my thought process. So what you're seeing now is me solving the problem. Even though maybe I should remember it, that's another story. Me solving the problem and my ideas from step by step. Sometimes maybe I'm going a little too fast, sometimes too slow. Let me know in the comments. But don't let me know just be like, hey, you're going too fast. No, ask me a question that I can answer. Like, I don't understand this. It's not a question. Like, how do you get from, or not even how, but like, okay, I see that X happened and I see that Y happened. What is, how do I connect those two, right? Or something like that. Anyway, so learn to ask questions. But okay, so 5 times 4 will be fast. 5 times 4 times 30,000, is it? 10 to the 4th is 30,000, right? Yeah, so that's gonna be like 600,000, right? Or is it? Yeah, 600,000. That's gonna be fast enough if we're able to do that. And my idea, my framework, as I was gonna say, is that okay, given 2 numbers, one is odd, one is even, then we can do sliding window on it, right? On the solution. The other thing though is that you have this K term, right? Of and assuming, and I don't know if we are able to, but if we're able to do like a sliding window, a linear sliding window, then you have 20 times n, and that's gonna be fast enough. So these are the things that are going through my head in terms of possibility when I see this constraint, right? Okay, subsets a size of at least k is a little bit awkward. I don't quite honestly know what that means in terms of how that affects my problem solving, right? So, because then my question is, can we yeah, because and the question is, how does at least k what does that mean for us, right? And I don't know, to be frank. I think I have some idea on. I don't know the so far, but I have some ideas on delta, right? So let's say you have two characters that you care about. Then now, instead of looking at an array like this, what you would look at is something like let's say you have an array like this. I'm just going to add some more numbers. But let's say you only care about 2 numbers for now, right? 1 and 2. Then now maybe 1 is the odd number and even is the thing. Then now I would reinterpret this as almost like a prefix sum. You have a plus, minus, nothing. So maybe, I don't know how, XX maybe. Plus, minus, something like that, right? So I could interpret it like this. And the reason is so that I don't know. I'm still kind of thinking it through, to be frank. But the idea about something like this is so that we can get to the prefix sum much easier, right? Because then now, let's say here, because then now it just becomes, I want to say that now it becomes what is that? Cadane's algorithm almost, right? Because then now you're trying to find the max, kind of, right? I mean, these are ideas that are floating in my head. Like I said, like if you watch enough of my videos, if I am certain about an idea, I would just, I would sound more certain. But the idea I have now is that, okay, convert these to +1, -1. Now Cadane's algorithm would give us the highest delta between these 2 numbers, and maybe I have to do it backwards for the other, for 2, 1 or whatever, right? However, of course it doesn't have this at least size k thing, right? I think that's the tricky part. So the additional constraint, there's this k thing, and then of course you have to keep track of this being being odd and this being even, so you don't, which is actually not that bad, actually. Okay. I mean, well, this part shouldn't be that bad. I think the K part we have to figure out. But it should not be that bad. Okay, no, actually, I think I've got to figure it out then. Okay. Because the idea here is that, okay, so we use Cadane's algorithm, right? So I think one thing that is with Cadane's algorithm is that is a dynamic programming solution, even though a lot of the times you may not think of it as such. So the way that you would think about Cadane's algorithm, or normally think about Cadane's algorithm, is you have something like for x and nums, you know, maybe you have some best variable current is equal to 0, right? So depending on order of operations and stuff, you may have something like, I don't know, right? Current is equal to 0, best is max of current and 0, something like this, right? And again, this is Cadane's algorithm. I'm going a little bit fast because I don't want to spend time on explaining Cadane's algorithm, to be frank. And there are a lot of videos on it, and my video is already at 10 minutes, right? So not that I'm trying to speed up too much, but you know, this is apparently maybe a prerequisite. But anyway, it's a variation of this anyway. So then if you write this out, of course it looks a little bit awkward. It's O of n time, O of one space. But another way that you could write about it is keep track of certain states, right? For example, instead of best is equal to 0, you could say best is equal to maybe 0 times n for some n, right? And then now instead of this, I mean, this is not meant to be real code anyway, though I'm writing it like it is mostly is. But yeah, best of I, almost like a prefix sum kind of way, right? Oops, I minus 1, right? I mean, you know, they're off by ones and zeros and stuff like that. But you get the idea of that. This is the way that you have Cadane's algorithm in a prefix sum, right? And then now, in a prefix sum kind of way, and maybe it's not even Cadane's anymore, it's just prefix sum now that I think about it. So maybe my apologies if that was misleading or confusing, because like I said, this is meant to be a live video of me going through thought processes, and a lot of these things are related, even if they're not precise in the sense that, like, okay, is Cadane's algorithm ... Probably not, but I'm explaining it as I'm thinking of these things, and just like, you know, like, but there are ideas from Cadane's algorithm which deals with prefix sum that allows you kind of, you know, do it that way, right? And then the idea here is that, okay, let's say you have these things. Well, we can keep track of, let's say A is equal to 1 and B is equal to 2, right? Then now we can keep track of the parity of A and the parity of B, right? So then we can get odd and B, or odd and even specifically, and then get the maximum difference with the subarray. Does that kind of make sense? Probably not precisely, because I think I think at this point it is clear in my head, honestly. But I am gonna try see if I could draw a little bit. What's I need to eat? I'm hungry. The idea of a prefix sum, and this is kind of tricky, right? Is that, okay, and this maybe you don't need Cadane's, but for this one you do have that idea of the prefix sum. Maybe that's a little bit more precise. But okay, let's do an easier example, right? Let's do an example where, okay, we know that we have some frequency of A, we have some frequency of B, and we know that this has to be odd and this has to be even, right? Let's for a second, let's ignore the even part, and this is only odd, right? Then what happens? Well, now, as we said, we have a +1, -1, +1, maybe 0 for other characters, +1, +1, -1, right? But within these states, you can also keep track. So here, if you do a prefix sum naively, you can, and you know, it starts at 0 for the no set, right? And then now you have 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 2, 1, or something like that, right? But the thing is that with these, and for now, you may keep track of an index with these, right? Like this is index 0, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But another thing that you can do alongside that is to keep track of the number of, not the number of, but the parity, right? Because the idea with prefix sum is that you're able to get a the idea behind prefix sum is that, let's say you want to get the sum between these things. Well, the sum of that is just equal to this minus this, right? I like these visualizations because you can see like the lines, right? Because you can see very easily that this line is just this line subtracting this line, giving you everything left, right? Okay. So that's prefix sum. But another idea is that, okay, let's say, what if we want only odd things, right? Well, for odd, we can have let's say so for odd, we only care about the plus ones, right? So it's here, 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 right? So then now we can just keep track of, well, how many, or not how many times, but the parity of how many times A appear in a prefix some kind of way. Well, here this is 0, this is 1, this is still 1. Now you have this thing, so the signs flip because it's even again. So 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, right? Okay, so what does this tells me? That means that, let's say if we are at here, right? Let's say this is the index that we're parsing, and we want to see an odd number of A's, right? An odd number of A's. What does that mean? Well, the prefix sum is 0, so to get some unknown length in which this length gives you an odd number of A, well, that means that the prefix has to be 1, right? Because that means, because, let me choose another color real quick. Because if this has a 1, then 1 plus 1 is equal to 0 in this parity kind of way, right? Mod 2 or whatever. So that's basically, and then now that means that this will give us an odd A. And hopefully you're following so far. You could think about them as states maybe, but as a result, without loss of generality, you can also do this with B, with the finding even. You just have to increase the dimension. Now you just have 2 dimension, one for A and one for B for parity, and then just look it up the correct one afterwards. And the thing is that you may also store the index. There are a couple of ways you can, so yeah, so that's how you would do it if you have any length, right? Let's pause at that for a second, because then now you can look up, okay, so for a given A and B, at a given index, we have f of A is odd or not, and f of B is odd or not. So then to make sure that we're looking for substrings or subarrays that are odd, and then also this is even, then you just have to do the math to it. We'll go through it in code, so don't worry, but as we implement it, but that's the idea. And then the other thing is the K part. It has to be at least K. So the at least K part is definitely a little bit tricky. I think there are a couple of ways that you can think about this. I was thinking initially of storing the index in it and then maybe parse things out, and you could certainly do it that way. But I think another way to update the state is just having almost like a queue or a delay, if you will, right? Meaning that, okay, let's go back to again to an easier example, right? A prefix sum. Let's say you do a prefix sum thing, right? And you're trying to make sure that a K is a certain K. So let's say we have to be at least 4, right? Well, what does that mean? That means that if we're looking for, let's say we're here, and it has to be at least here. Well, what does that mean? That means, and K has to be at least here, right? Because this has to be at least K. Well, what does that mean? That means that if we're thinking about Cadane's algorithm similarly, that means that in a prefix sum kind of way, well, we're just trying to that means that we're only looking at numbers here, right? Because let's say we're trying to find the max of this substring, right? Well, what is the max of this substring? Well, the max of this substring is just going to be the whole substring minus the min of here, right? So we have this prefix sum here, and then minus some min here. I know that this is in a naive case, this is trivial, kind of. I mean, it's not always trivial because of negatives and stuff like that, but it's trivially true because you can always choose like an empty array almost, right? But keeping in mind that right now we're doing a similar version of this, right? We're not taking into account the odd and even. We're just saying, okay, well, to maximize this purple part, to maximize the purple part, we have to maximize this number, the total part, which we get at the beginning. No. Actually, you don't maximize it because you have no choice, because you're choosing this as the last element, but then you have to minimize this part, right? To get to maximize this part, the purple part. And of course, but the thing is that now we choose the min will be only in this, let me change color again. The min will only be in this blue part. Oh, that's not blue. Missed quick. only be in this blue part, right? Meaning that there may be smaller numbers here, but we're not considering them. So then now what happens? Well, what happens is that, let's say you move one index. So you move this purple part to one index to the right. Then now in a sliding windows kind of way, well, now you move this to here as well. And then now the red part also extends one more for future consideration. And that's the core part of this. And this is the idea for this problem. And I think it's okay. So then now you have these components. Now you just put them all together into one thing. And this should give you linear time and linear space-ish. I say ish because technically it's like 4 times linear or something like that. You know, because we have to keep track of these. Oh, oops. We have to keep track of these things, but also maybe and you have to keep track of these things. So there are a lot of things to keep track of. It's a little very tricky, possibly. It's a little bit messy, but yeah. So you have to put it together. Obviously, it's like a Lego assembly, not included. But of course, like a Lego, you should. Okay, that analogy is not that great. But what I was gonna say is that like a Lego, you should understand how each piece works independently, to a point in which you're able to put them together. And yeah, and everything I said was basically the in the idea that I think of them. I hope I didn't really go through it that much. Okay, so let's do that then, right? So then now, maybe we have a helper function, right? So let's just say we have def calculate. We have an A and B, and then now, yeah, and then now. We don't have to necessarily write it all out per se. I guess this is always n anyway. How do we want to write this? Yeah, I mean we can. So the prefix part is going to look something like this, right? So for x in S, if x is equal to A, not the count, A, then the current count is oh, this is prefix really, but something like this, right? But then now we have to keep track of states, right? So maybe we have something like CA is equal to 0, CB is equal to 0 for counting A and B's, and then now here we increment A, and here we increment B, right? And then now we want to. So now there are a lot of things to do all together at once. So my apologies, but yeah. But so far now we have to keep track of the states of the best possible answer, right? So then best, we have equal to oh yeah, I was gonna say this should be able to be negative because that's why I'm pausing. Is that I was like 0 doesn't sound like the reasonable thing. So yeah, so let's just say 2 times 2, right? So 2 by 2 array, and we'll add some comments to this because I'm not in the contest mode anyway. But but let me also set infinity, right? And basically best. Oops, that's not comment. Best of ij means A C of A has I mod 2 parity, maybe? I'm trying to be precise about it, but yeah, right? So best of ij is the best oh wait, but in this case the best we're trying to minimize, right, in the way that we set. So as a result, actually we want infinity so that we can minimize, right? Best known prefix given something like CA mod 2, something like that, right? Okay. So then now the thing that, and normally maybe you would write something like, I don't know, something like that, and then actually you would min over it. But the problem is that in this particular case, the problem is that in this particular case, we have to do the length k thing, what I call like a delay kind of thing, or a delay q kind of thing. And there are a couple of ways you can write this. I think there are definitely a lot, like there are definitely precise way to do it, but I'm going to just do it this way, where I just hold a q, because I think it's easier to visualize what I'm trying to do, right? Maybe not, but trying something new. I don't know what I did last time. And then now that means that here, then now we append CA mod 2, CB mod 2, prefix, right? And that's it. And actually, we do that in either case, so we can just take it outside. So this is for maybe the calculation in some order, but then now the delay is that if length of q is greater than k, then now that means that we are k more than k distance away, so then we can pop off the q, right? So then pop left. I need another variable. So because I don't want to, whatever, right? So yeah, maybe QA, QB, prefix is equal to this, and then now best of QA mod. Oh, I guess QA is already modded. Is equal to min best QA, oops, QB, and then prefix, right? So that pops things off, and honestly at this point I'm a little bit careless. I don't know the order of operation, but here now we know that currently at CA, CB, I guess the order doesn't matter because CA has to be odd, so you will never visit a state that you currently are at, if that makes sense. If that doesn't, it's fine. I don't think it's that important. It's just more of a proof type thing. So okay, so we're currently at this. That means that to make CA odd, we want the other bit, right? So that if CA is odd, I mean, I did this to keep the count, but maybe another way we should just keep whether it is the parity of it, right? So maybe I can just write it this way. So then that saves me using mod everywhere. We want the opposite, right? So that means that we want best of 1 minus CA, and then CB, because it's even, then you have the same parity as the one that you're removing from. And then now your prefix minus this, and you want the best answer from this. So I don't know, highest maybe. Just go to max, highest this. And yeah, and that should be good. Maybe, I don't know. Who knows anymore? Highest is equal to negative infinity, right? Something like that. And then now we just have to brute force all the possible numbers. So maybe I just put in a set of S, right? So C's for characters, maybe. So then now for I in range. Oh no, we have to do it for each one, I think. So yeah, for A in CS, for B in CS, if A is not equal to B, then yeah, what's it called? Calc AB, right? And then now this is just max over all this, right? So that's basically the idea. Honestly, I don't know. There may be a lot of mistakes, but that's the general framework of how I want to put it. I think I forgot to put prefix 0, 0. And we also need to set up. I mean, this is not precise because I didn't set up best of 0, 0 is equal to 0. Is that true? Maybe that's not true. I mean, that's the prefix, but it is. No, I guess that's fine. Maybe let's run it. All right. Well, not going according to plan, but that's okay. We'll take a look. Probably there's some mistakes, but hopefully everyone's following. Why did I negative? I usually don't. I get confused somewhere. That doesn't even make sense. All right, still wrong, but at least a little bit better. Definitely not getting the -1 answers. That's a little bit awkward, but all right. But at least that's, you know, within reason. We can also just print out. So my computer's a little slow. Maybe I need to reboot it. Running too many things. Okay. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. So these answers are not great. 2, 1. The number of 2's minus the number of 1's. Yeah, that's actually reasonable. Is it? I mean, yes, but I mean, it's impossible. It's why I say it, right? Because it should be impossible, because there not enough ones to have even ones, right? But this one 2, 3 is wrong, because 2, 3 should be like if you have this 2, 3, 3, then it should be -1, right? So something is a little bit off here for sure. And maybe it's coding, maybe it's not. We'll see. Oh yeah, this part maybe, I don't know if this part is off by 1, because I think maybe it could be, but at least the numbers look more reasonable. Maybe not, because the 0 doesn't make sense here, actually. Was it? Oh, yeah, it doesn't make sense here. Huh. We're trying to keep them in. Yeah, okay. No, I mean, I think that everything looks. Oh! I reused this prefix as a variable. I mean, I don't know that that's it, but it definitely messed things up. In either case, okay. I mean, now this is what I would expect more. So I think we're roughly right, though. Of course. 1 and 3. One and 3, how do you get 1? I guess that's the question. I mean, I think, you know, we're mostly on the right track, maybe not. This one gives 1, 0. Oh, I see. The reason is because maybe this is not right, actually. The reason is because I mean, now we fixed this, which is great, maybe. But the reason why this is not right. Well, 1 and 0 is right, but this one is not. Is it? The reason why we had to change that default is because it was counting 0 items as 0 items, but you need to at least have at least 1 item, so that's why that's wrong. Maybe we still do. Maybe this is why we're not calculating this right. No, I mean, this is just wrong in other ways. So we're definitely debugging this. Oh well. Alright, 1, 0, right? 1, 0 is what we want. We have, well, no, 0, 1 is what we want. So this one should be -1. This one should be impossible. Why is this not -1? Alright, well, I mean, we could just print it then. Yeah, it's just very awkward to read though, but it's fine. Okay, so then now, why does it print so much stuff? They're not 6 elements. A little bit confused. Oh, because I do this, so it calculates it twice. I was like, why is it calculating twice? It's because you're running it twice. So okay, that's fine. It's -1. Oh, do we return the highest? Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's fine, right? No, I mean, this is an awkward. I think we do need. Oh, I see, I see, I see. So it's not that. So yeah, it's not that we have to remove the base case of this. We have to actually put it on a queue so that we can use it once we are long enough. So yeah, okay. So maybe that actually is what we want, and then maybe we have to fix the greater than equal thing. Yeah. Okay. So I think now it makes sense. Maybe I think this is one early actually. So actually, I think it is greater than k. Was it should? Oh no, maybe I'm misreading the. Oh no, I'm looking at the one. No, this is what I would have expected. Is that true? No, but it's after you processed. No, I think that's fine. Because this is accessible to us. So now it should give us 0. And the prefix being -1. So this is how, okay, so that's right. All right, let's take a look at this. Oh, geez. -3. Okay, so 1 and 3. Sorry, friends. I mean, this is part of, dev work. It just happens. So 1 and 3. One and 3 is -3. Why? So at the prefix, so the end prefix is -1. Oh wait, I'm looking at the wrong one, am I? Oh, why does it do it in? Oh, set does it in weird order, so that's why. Oh, not weird, but it changes it around. Okay, so 1 and 3. It has -3 prefix at the end. Is that true? Oh, I am dumb. I was lazy. I wrote an else, but I forgot that there could be other characters. Okay, Larry. Silly rabbit. Is that right then? I think this is rightish. Okay, so now this is right and this is right. Just double checking. This is not right though. We have 3. All right, 1. So 1, 2. It's gonna be 1 at the end. Okay, but why does it think you have 3? 2, 1. We have -1 at the end. Did I do the math wrong? -1 minus the prefix. Am I doing this wrong? I mean, it's possible. It's -1 at the end, okay, and then -1 we match up with, I guess like a -2 is what happened. Is that right? So we have 2, what we have odd, so we have 1, 0, and we're looking for 0, 0, which is -2, so that's why -1 minus -2 is 0. Is -2 right? We should never be -2, right? For 2, 1. Did I do some other funky things? We should never have. How do you even have a prefix of -2? Did I do the math wrong again? Let's see. That was pretty dumb though. Okay, so B is 1. So yeah, oh, -2 is just 2 cells in, and then now you have 0, 0, which is delayed Q3, so that's -2. No, it's still because the reason why you can't do that so -1 would be the entire thing. The -2 is saying that we have these two, right? So then that's -1 minus -2. That actually sounds right-ish. But then why is it not wrong? Why is it okay? So this prefix sum is -1. This prefix sum is -2. Am I doing the math wrong? I mean, clearly, but how? So that means that this is +3. No, that's not how math works. -1, -2, this is, that means that is +1, right? Why am I doing so wrong? Am I doing prefix wrong? Minus. Wait, how do you get 3 then? If it's -1 minus. No, the math is right. But we're getting 3 in another way. I guess that's why. Okay, I'm just confusing myself with the negatives. Because -1 minus -2 is 1, which is the expected answer. But. Oh, wait, 2 is the odd number. So I think this. No, that's what I'm saying. So 2 is the odd number. We have -1 at the end. That's fair. And we have subtract -2, so that means that this is 1. But then how do we get 3? All right, let's see. So at this point, why did I not print the prefix? Okay. I mean, at least we're pretty close. We'll get it eventually because I'm incompetent. But, okay. Am I off by 1? That would be funny if it's just because I'm off by 1. But no, that doesn't make sense. It should no, because then I would pop early. Am I just popping too early? Is that what's going on? Especially now that we added an empty thing. Maybe? No? Okay. It does fix that though. I mean, yeah, no, that doesn't make sense though. And why is this wrong? Alright, let's see. Let's actually use our brains and think. Okay, so the prefix is 1. Where is it 1? It is 1 at here. Okay. K is 3, so then you can minus the -2. So then you have, oh, that's okay. So I was thinking about something along these lines, but I think I just confused myself and not forgotten about it, but I thought I fixed it maybe. But the reason why this is returning 3 is because, again, I mean, I mentioned it already, is that it's having 0 1s. So that means that we have to do some check to make sure that in this inside the substring we have at least one, or technically 2 1s because it's even. But yeah. How do I do that though? The reason why you can't just do an if statement is that because if you do an if statement, it's not that you don't do the min thing, you have to keep track of the other ones, right? For example, you may imagine that you have say something like this. You know, maybe the best prefix is here, but you can't just like remove the prefix. right? Like this one is also a valid answer, and also maybe even this one. So you can't just, take the greedy one in that way. But huh? Can we? I mean, I know. I'm trying to think. I mean, I think you can definitely hack it in a way, by adding an if statement as part of the as part of this maybe. But that is still very. I think it's slightly awkward to be precise about. Right? Because that would that work even? I'm trying to think because okay. So first of all, the it can we have two components A and B. The only way we have this zero character issue is with B, right? Because A, well, you need odd, and by odd you always have one character, so that's why it doesn't matter. But then now CB, we're saying okay, well, if the last K can, or I'm trying to think whether if we just delay this, is it enough by doing a check or something? Like almost like yeah, here we go, okay, well, that's the last K, and we can do a lookup on that pretty easily, right? But it's like is there any ones or any B's between that thing, right? If not, then we don't um but then you have to be like careful. Maybe a queue is not the best way to do this. But I think the way that you, I guess actually no, maybe that's fine, right? But the thing is that, no, I think that's fine. Maybe that's fine. Trying to think through all the different states. And the thing is that you need, if it is zero, then you need. But that just feels so hacky to me. That's why I'm like a little bit pausing on it. Um, and the reason why I did it this way is because so that it doesn't, you know. Okay, I guess now we need while, right? Maybe. And I want to write something like now we have to keep track of the index, which is a little bit awkward because the index will let us know. Let me think. I mean, I think there's a easier way to write this actually, which is something like this. And then I think when I did this flipping, it's not, I mean, it's fine. But here we can write something like this. And then the only way that, while this is true, we have this, but only if, maybe we don't pop left yet, but if K of 0, the top of the queue, if the B element is not equal to the current B, then we pop, right? Or maybe equivalently, then here, then we break because we don't relax the node. Now we're running into an index. Oh, because, well, that's fine. It's just that here, um, we have to mod it by 2 now that we did it this way. Here as well, I think, because I mean, it's more expensive, obviously, and slower. But maybe we could do some other maps, or we could cache a lot of this modding. But I'm just trying to see if it's correct. Okay, so I guess that was that is catchy. That is tricky. Let's run it real quick or submit it real quick. Is that good? All right. I mean, I guess that's it. I mean, that non-zero even case is actually kind of tricky to think through. So my apologies if that last part was a little bit awkward. So basically, what I did, I just want to, I wasn't sure that this is correct or confident about it, so that's why I kind of, as you saw, like, was just YOLO trying it. But the idea here is that, okay, well, we pop things off the queue, and I was just thinking through all the different cases in which the order of operation might or might not matter. And the idea here is that, and this actually makes it even harder, which is ridiculous. But at least this time I got it in one try. Yay, I didn't get like 4 wrong answers. But yeah, the idea here is that if the B's are the same, so CB is the current count of B's, and Q is going to be the dequeuing of things that we relax. So that best, and when I say relax, I mean like relaxation. So that best has an answer that can be considered by this thing, right? But if CB is the same, that means that with the last span, there is 0 B's, right? And with the 0 B's, even though it's even, that is not going to be correct, which is why we're running into that issue, which is why we added this if statement. But because we add this if statement, then this invariant is no longer, well, you don't always do it once, so then now you do a while loop instead, so that as soon as you hit CB again, a lot of things unpop until you have K elements for the delay, if you will, of the processing event. Overall, obviously a very difficult problem if you ask me. I mean, I did it 4 months ago and I still took almost an hour, right? So I don't know. But yeah, what's the complexity here? Like I said, this is going to be 5 times 4, right? This is, 5 times 4. This is linear time though, so it's pretty Gucci, I think. You have a deck, but everything else is, these are all of 1. You have a queue, which is all of 1. This is amortized all of 1 because you only insert an item into a queue once per element, so you only dequeue once per element, right? No way around it. And these are all of 1. And you could definitely even speed this up slightly though. I mean, we're okay. But this is already linear, so I'm not going to think about it too much, even though sometimes Leetcode does have awkwardness. But yeah, hope that was okay. Let me take a look at what I did 4 months ago or whatever it was. Okay, so I did the same idea with that. I guess this part is mostly the same. Oh, so I guess I did do the same thing last time. And I suppose so I did the prefix as the prefix delta, but here I just count the odd minus the even and then minus index. So okay, so honestly, I'm surprised that I did basically the same thing, and except for that I didn't put in a function, I had a for loop. Yeah, that's pretty good, and I don't know why I had to add this. I think just for something about the last element probably. But yeah, why did I rewrite it the day afterwards? Maybe I was just testing something. Still looks mostly okay. Yeah, I mean, I guess I did it the same way though. So yeah, last time I did it in a contest. This time I did it in a much more slower, deliberate way. Hopefully this makes sense. If not, that's fine. Leave a comment or whatever. With questions. I mean, like it's like it doesn't really. It's not a feedback to say you don't understand. For me, it just means you don't understand. So if you have a question that enables me to let you understand, then ask that instead. But that is all I have for this one. Let me know what you think. Thanks for watching. And yeah, stay good, stay healthy to your mental health. I'll see y'all later and take care. Bye bye.